The United States is bracing for the release of a video that some fear could reignite mass protests over police killings of black people. 5 officers in Memphis have been fired and charged with murder, and the city today will release body cam footage of the violent arrest of a young black man. This man, Tyre Nichols, who died 3 days ago after what has been called a brutal beating by police. U.S. officials, including President Joe Biden, urging protesters to be peaceful when that video is released. So is Tyre Nichols' mother.
I didn't see it, but from what I hear, it's going to be horrific. But I want each and every one of you to protest in peace. I don't want us burning up our cities.
Tyre Nichols' mother last night at a vigil in Memphis. Officials announced they would release that video today. We expect it early this evening. Tyre Nichols was pulled over near his mother's home on January the 7th. Police say there was a confrontation, that Nichols fled, and that his arrest left him bloody, swollen, and unconscious. He died 3 days later. Police have released few other details, but officials are warning the body cam footage will be very difficult to watch.
In a word, it's absolutely appalling. Let me be clear. What happened here does not at all reflect proper policing. This was wrong. This was criminal.
The 5 officers who arrested Nichols are also black. They've all been fired, and as of yesterday, they are facing multiple charges, including second-degree murder. The Memphis police chief has called Nichols' arrest heinous and inhumane. She says people will see for themselves when the footage comes out, again expected tonight. Cameron McIntosh is in our Washington bureau with more on the story. It's not just Memphis, Cameron. We know that communities right across the United States will very likely be on edge today, waiting for the release of that video and the response to it. People, Cameron, who have seen it have already described it in very stark terms. So tell us more about that and about the case and what we should be expecting later today.
Well, in terms of the video, we haven't seen it yet ourselves, but it's been described by people who have seen it, including Tyre Nichols' attorneys, members of his family, and the chief of the Memphis Police Service, Cyril C.J. Davis. She's been very blunt about it, calls it inhumane and heinous. What she's saying is this is right in line with the Rodney King video from so many years back. In fact, she says this may be even worse. The video is about an hour long. It is multiple angles of body cam video and other video that they were able to glean from other security cameras that captured the arrest. So we're expecting this release after 7 o'clock Eastern time, and there's a rationale for that. But in terms of what people are expecting here, we have heard from the family appealing to people to, you know, on one hand be angry, but on the other hand to try to demonstrate on this in a very non-violent way. There is a lot of concern in this country right now and a lot of tension, of course. The whole issue of police brutality when it comes to the black community here, notwithstanding the fact that the 5 officers accused in this case were black themselves, it is a powder keg of emotion in this country. And right now, a lot of people on edge for what this video will depict and how people will respond to it.
Cameron, you mentioned the Rodney King video. Many are evoking that moment, and partly because of that, there's such a great deal of concern about the public response tonight. Unrest, outrage when the video comes out. What are U.S. officials saying about that?
So the city of Memphis is going to release this on YouTube, and the reason they're going to release it this evening is they're saying they basically don't want people getting caught up in a protest on their way home from work or on their way home from school or things like that. So they want to make sure that most people are home when this is released. So that's why it's coming out in the evening today. As for preparations for this, the city of Memphis has already put more police officers out on the streets. They're preparing for crowds to be out today. Again, the plea from the family, the plea from authorities in Memphis is for any sort of demonstration or protest to be nonviolent, and other communities are doing that too. Here in Washington, actually, the Metropolitan Police Department is putting up a fence around the Capitol in the event that there are protests here on the Mall. So that's being done. They've put more police officers on standby. Other communities are doing similar things. Statement from President Biden yesterday. He says he expects outrage, and in this case, outrage may be appropriate, but is cautioning against violence, saying that violence is never appropriate.
Cameron, thank you very much. Very big news day there as we await the video's release. Cameron McIntosh covering it from Washington for us.